Justice Warriors, how are you this morning? I'm a little bit later than I normally am. I've just been actually working on this necklace, so um, I couldn't help it. It's a necklace I've had for a while, and it needed just a little bit of tweaking. And then I finally got it perfect, and then I thought of a way of making it more perfect. So, that's one of my hobbies. And I think that so many of us were offended by Lindsay Rodney when she said, get a hobby. Whoa, the best comeback to that I've heard is, Lindsay, why don't you get a hobby like, seeking justice for your daughter? Not to be snarky, not to be mean, but seriously. Good morning, John Cross. Thanks for saying good morning. So I know you guys can hear me. So my channel is Justice A to Z. I usually start out by saying good morning, justice seekers. Um, and then maybe justice fighters. And I just thought of another one, or maybe I said it yesterday, justice warriors. Anyway, so, my mind is pretty sharp, but not completely. There's a little bit of blurriness there. There's just so much going on in the world, and I like to stay focused. I really want to stay focused on Kylie. I really think she needs us. Good morning. KRK's total fail. Completely. I agree. Justice Warriors for sure. Cool. I love it. So for those who might have heard me talking about it yesterday, when my first YouTube experience ever was as a special guest on What's the Obsession, and I used the screen name Xena, which I thought was really cool. And it was really spur of the moment. She was like, you got to have a screen name, and I was like, Xena, and just went with it because she liked it. And there wasn't really time to switch it up. So anyway, one of the people in the conversation said, Xena Warrior Princess. And I love that. I definitely feel like I'm fighting for peace. It is an odd, counterintuitive term, but as I learned from my grandpa, who was in the military for 30 years, that you do have to fight for peace. It was hard for me to wrap my brain around that as a teenager, but it just comes up again and again as an adult. Anyone see the forensic pathologist on Duty Ron last night? He's a total creepo if you search his name. Oh, that's hilarious. I mean, funny, not funny. Um, there's so many directions to go with this. Let me just start with saying that everything I say is my opinion only. It's all for the sake of conversation, and I hope, fingers crossed, education and entertainment. So here's the earrings that don't exactly match the necklace, but they kind of go with it. I made them a long time ago. I've never worn them together. I don't like to match. I like to kind of rhyme with my jewelry rather than have like a complete matching set. It's always been my thing. Anyway, you guys don't want to hear about my jewelry. We want to hear about Kylie and her jewelry. Maybe that's one of the reasons I feel so connected to her. Um, we appreciate your opinion. I really feel like Kylie needs us, like Team Kylie. She really needs people to fight for her. So, Kevin Neese is another YouTuber about maybe the same size as my small YouTube channel that has just been growing. I only started it less than 2 months ago. I'm not sure exactly how long ago he started his, but I think he has roughly the same number of subscribers, like 2 or 3 thousand, if I'm thinking correctly, which I'm not always. So I usually try to watch my videos right after I do them and then make any corrections in the comments, because sometimes I slip up and I say it's Thursday when it's Friday or something like that. So today is Friday, October 21st, and it is just a couple minutes before 9. Last night, What's the Obsession was planning on doing a Kylie Rodney uh, discussion panel, but she's actually postponed that till tonight, which I must have psychically known that yesterday morning because I thought she was doing it Thursday night, and I said yesterday morning, I said tomorrow night. So I'm sorry if I confuse you guys with my silly confusion. But like I said, it was kind of psychic because last night she decided to go with a Watts panel that she'd been working on. And I watched it for a while and was participating in the chat, and I thought it was great. I mean, Kelly just really cares about justice for those girls and for their mom and for their baby brother. And I really appreciate that for her work and Armchair Detective across the pond. Without the two of them, I don't know that the memories of these beautiful young children and their mama would be kept alive. And I think it's important to keep these victims alive. I think that the victims would want that for sure. No justice for Kylie, no peace for Truckee. Yep. Um, so Kevin Neese wrote a song, and I think it's still his last post. It's 3 minutes and 33 seconds. And if you haven't heard Kevin Neese's song, I would highly recommend it. I think it's phenomenal. I first listened to it yesterday, and then I listened to it again this morning, and it was like stuck in my head for a while. Um, I really think that Neil Young, I'm not kidding. I think Neil Young might perform that song for him. Neil Young, I believe, still lives in Northern California. I think he's in his 80s. I think he married Daryl Hannah a couple of years ago. He's just an incredible artist, and he loves music and he loves new music. And he's very righteous. You know, his music has always been kind of politically loaded. Um, I'm wondering if Neil Young has heard about Kylie Rodney yet, and that maybe we could get some passion from him being a heavy hitter and a high roller. Um, the kind of passion that Ryan Upchurch and Adventures with Purpose had been putting into Kylie's case early on. And even if none of those guys get re-involved, I'm still just super appreciative of the work that they did because I think that what they did was priceless. Um, so Dr. Young, boycott Truckee, Creek Squad. Great comments, you guys. Um, and you know, I want to talk about some of the weird things that Sammy has said, some of the weird things that Jagger has said, the things that they said early on. We'll get into that in a minute. I do want to bring up that Princeton student whose name I did not write down, so I'm going to completely hack it up. There was a Princeton student, a 20-year-old young woman that disappeared last Friday night, Saturday morning, I think, after a supper club or a food club get together. Maybe that was Thursday night. And so it was Friday morning, like 3 in the morning was the last time one of her roommates saw her. Really sad. They found her body yesterday behind the tennis courts on campus. And they're saying there's no foul play. Zilch, zero. And it's so freaking bizarre. And it was the night before an appointment that she had with getting citizenship or visa or something like that. I forget what country her family's from, and her name is something like Misara. I'll completely hack it up. Anyway, and I don't want to do that. It's a beautiful name. I meant to write it down so that I would at least have a little bit of a grip on it. If any of you guys know who I'm talking about, if you want to Google it, maybe you could put it in the comments. So 20-year-old Princeton student, if you just Google that, it'll come right up. I learned about her on Living Lake Time. I always get the name of his channel mixed up too. Lake Time Living, Living Lake Time. Anyway, Casey is that young man's name, and he's hilarious. He's very tongue-in-cheek with his presentations. I think he's super smart. He's right on. Right. How in the world would that be no foul play? It makes no sense at all. Oh, I found you through Ryan Upchurch. Oh, that is cool, John Cross. That is really cool. So yeah, this beautiful young woman, Misara Universalis is kind of how you might say her name almost. And I think she's from Ethiopia. I think her family's from Ethiopia. I know her parents have been living in Cleveland area, and Paula Plunder covered this case too. So Paula is usually right on top of stuff. Um, hit that like button. Yes, thank you. So please hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Please share my videos. Those things are huge for helping the algorithm. And with YouTube, it's all about the algorithm, right? And having a new laptop. If by chance my battery dies, I think that this will get posted automatically since it's live. And then I'll just pick up later. I can't plug it in right now. So let's say a prayer for the Princeton student and her family. It's so sad and so creepy. Absolutely creepy. And, shout out to Paula Plunder, shout out to Casey at Living Lake Time, and whoever else has been bringing her story to light. So, I want to mention the Phoenix Rising because so many of these crimes that I am drawn to and that true crime covers is violence against women, and it's absolutely disgusting, despicable. The only thing worse to me than violence against women, which to me is like a hate crime, it's like killing somebody because of their race or because they're gay, because they're female. The only thing worse than that is violence against children. Yay! Deborah Gordon says, I made it alive. Yay. Cool. Because, yeah, I came on a little bit later than I normally do just because I was having a jewelry emergency in a good way. I love to pick out, interesting jewelry for each day, but especially doing this, it's kind of an opportunity to showcase some of the cool stuff that I have a lot of it I've made myself, and I'm not trying to sell it. I don't have any to sell. I just want to share it. That's all. Um, so I used to be a jeweler. That was my first business. I did that with my mom when I was a young teenager. I think I started at about 15 years old. And I did that for 13 years until I went to graduate school. I had to completely give it up to do graduate school. And then I didn't think I'd get back into it because I'm kind of an all or nothing kind of person. And after many, many years, I have gotten back into it, but just as a hobby, not as a business. Um, anyway, my mom passed away March 8th this year, 2022. And I'm kind of happy that my mama was there for Kylie on the other side. I just thought of that this morning. Mm. Yeah, I love making my own jewelry. The only problem with it is that I can get so absorbed and get kind of like this in my eyesight, and I can just do it for hours. Like I'm literally the entire time thinking just one more thing, just one more thing, just a second. And it like cracks my family up because I'll be standing there in my bedroom in the corner by the light with my little needle nose pliers messing with something that I think I'm only going to do for a second. And I literally can be there for hours, and I'm hungry and I have to go to the bathroom. And I'm like, one more second, one more second. It's really fun. But, part of that ties in with what I have in my notes here too about having a purpose driven life, and why I'm bringing up having been an entrepreneur from a very young age. And then my second entrepreneurship was a private practice with psychotherapy. And then I had my kids while I was doing that out in Seattle. I had my first three children there in Washington State before moving back to Ohio and having a fourth. So I was fortunate that I was able to afford to be a stay at home mom, barely. I mean, it's kind of impossible in this day and age, But we were able to do that so that the kids had mama, right? I mean, I was kind of hoping my husband would do it, honestly, that he would be the stay at home parent and that I could just be out there, you know, winning the bread, the butter, the bacon, all that good stuff. But that's okay. I mean, kids need both parents, and I'm just grateful that we have kids. It took us a long time to start a family. And I haven't mentioned to you guys before because it's almost silly. And again, I don't like to brag. I don't want to be like, oh, I'm better than anybody or my marriage is better because that's just totally not true. I guess I just don't want people to be jealous if they might be. But my husband and I have been together forever. We met in college. We just celebrated our 31st wedding anniversary, or let's see, 32 years of being together, and actually our 30th wedding anniversary. So we got the kids and the dogs in the car, and we drove up to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, which was the most one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen in my life. So yeah, congratulations. It is really cool. I mean, I met my husband when I'm a year and a few months older than him. So I was like 22, I think, and he was 21. And we got married a couple of years later, so I would have been 24 and he would have been 23. Um, and now we're a lot older than that. Add 32 years to that. So if we can all do our math together, I think he is 53 and I'm 55. Yeah. Yeah. Because, like I said, I'm about a year and a half, a little bit more or less than a year and a half older than him. Anyway, so just so you guys know a little bit more about me as we're getting to know each other. And yeah, it is, having stability is so cool. Like stability with where you live, stability with your relationship status, stability with your work. Doing new stuff is cool too, but it's stressful. And I'm a very routine oriented person. I learned in my internship in a psychiatric facility that routine was what helped people get their feet back on the ground when they have had a nervous breakdown, for lack of better terminology. Um, Suicidal or just really despondent, that just getting your routine, having a regular bedtime, a regular 3 square meals, having a schedule like what you're going to do in the morning, in the afternoon, and the evening. For those people who have less structure, it's easier to fall apart when you have less structure. So the more structure you have, the better when you're in a psychological healing process. But all of us who are parents know that it's the same thing for little kids. They do so much better when there's structure. When they have too much free time, it's sort of like that old cliche, idle hands are of the devil or something like that. But having a purpose, having a direction, having a focus helps us all. It helps people that are struggling, and it helps people that aren't struggling, in my opinion. I know that's the way I'm designed anyway. Um, and so I wanted to talk about this because I think it ties in with us true crime aficionados and this purpose driven passion of wanting to find justice for Kylie, or the Watts family, or the Princeton student. That it makes us feel kind of more organized and more structured and gives us some kind of cohesiveness. And then we're building this community, which, as I've gotten into the true crime community online, I was like, yeah, it does feel like a community. But now that I'm doing my own channel, it feels like that even more. So it's really cool. And thank you guys for being here. Um, so Gabby Petito was another one that I think drew a lot of us in. And I've mentioned this before. I think that when these extremely attractive people, the Princeton student is gorgeous. Um, Gabby Petito was gorgeous. Kylie Rodney was gorgeous. Shanann Watts was gorgeous. Suzanne Morphew was gorgeous. It's just easier to focus on these individuals when they're so pretty, right? They're so easy on the eyes, is what I like to say, because I think that everybody deserves that attention. And honestly, it's harder to give that kind of attention to somebody that is not so much looking like a movie star or a model, unfortunately, because it's very superficial and it's stupid. But I think that's just kind of part of the way people are. I'm just being honest. I mean, I'm admitting it myself too. And most of those people that I mentioned are also white. And I don't like to bring up race, but I also don't like to ignore it. And this Princeton student that's Ethiopian, it's just nice to see somebody like that get more coverage, because it's my belief that anybody with a family member that's been victimized like that, that they would love for their family member to get the media attention. Some of these families say, "Oh, media, social media, quit talking about my family member." And for myself, and I think for a lot of people like you guys, that it might make us suspicious. Like, why would you not want us to talk about your family member and show their picture and talk about how awesome they were? Like, what do you have to hide? Like with Kylie Rodney's case. And I certainly don't want to re-victimize a family that's already been victimized. Um, but it seems to me, we'll just stick with Kylie Rodney's case because that is the focus of my channel. That was why I started my channel. And there's so much to say about it, but there is such an undercurrent and a backdrop of complete injustice with this freaking Truckee way and this bogusness of the whole investigation from the outset. And I think that those are the things that have drawn us in and hooked us, gotten our attention. And then for the injustices to keep piling up, it's not going to work for me. I don't think it's going to work for you guys either. And fighting for justice is a never-ending battle. You're I don't want to say you're never going to win, because I feel like every day is a victory, but there's always going to be injustice to fight against. So, you know, you kind of have to make peace with that and just feel like as long as you're progressing, as long as you're making progress, that's the win right there. And that it's the journey, not the goal. Um, I want to read a couple of these longer ones from Sky Z. For me, my passion for true crime is more about the study of human behavior, not that I don't want justice for the victims, but I love the puzzle and to discuss with my friends. Absolutely. Most of the criminals were abused as kids, pretty to put it real simply. However, that doesn't give them a license to go and commit crimes, right? They need to get help, get it together. Um, be kind. I mean, they're going to get more out of life if they're not being criminals, right? It's pretty basic, pretty simple. I stayed away from Gabby's case. If my guides tell me no, I listen. I can't follow every case. Yes, I totally agree with that. I stayed away from the Watts case up in the first couple or 3 years because of the small children. I just couldn't deal with it. Um, and yeah, I just go with the cases that suck me in, basically. Ashley B. Harsh has a video that says that that doctor has gotten it wrong many times before. Something was not right. Um, and Ashley B says to Heather in response to that, I'll have to check it out. I started checking him out after watching him and how he said Kylie's autopsy was perfect. I'm not sure if you're referring to Harsh saying that it was perfect or the doctor that is being discussed. But I'm a big fan of Harsh Reality. I think he's really solid. Um, I'm not a big fan of anybody who just wants to go with the mainstream, because the mainstream is usually not accurate. and you got to get into it. You got to be brave, and you got to be willing to go against the grain, in my opinion. Marco Diem says Marasha Unity. Yes, thank you. Miss Rosh, I think Miss Rosh is the first name. Unity, it might be how you say the last name. That's kind of closer than I was before. Miss Rosh Unity family was super aggressive from the start and had enough resources for both brothers and both parents to get to Princeton and to push the hell out of law enforcement, maybe more socioeconomic. Right, right. And they still got shut out and shut down, and something's not right. I have a feeling that that's going to be a really um, gross case. And I get that feeling from what Living Lake Time has covered. I'll say a little bit about that, but I don't want to like go off in that direction. Good morning, AZ, everyone. I was just dropping my jaw at the info in your last video. Saw your live. Cool. Rogue House. That's a cool name. And Ashley says, I agree. Dr. Young. Okay, Dr. Young was horrible. Harsh is great. Cool. Good to know the name to stay away from. And the sad thing is when you have somebody like, say, in law enforcement or a doctor or a judge that has a lot of power and influence over people's lives and deaths, and they are, if they're rotten, if they're corrupt, they get away with a lot before they get caught. And then once they get caught, they might get stopped from continuing down that path. And the case that they got caught on will more than likely be reversed because it's being identified that they're corrupt. But what I see as a huge, huge problem with our system is that the other cases that they have made horrible calls on don't get addressed. And in my opinion, if you find out they're corrupt, you should throw out their previous decisions. But I understand the reality of that is just so great too. I mean, that's such a huge burden on our system that is already um, kind of wearing thin. But I think it needs to be addressed. I think that you take somebody like Derek Chauvin and you look at other people that they've wronged and that are maybe in prison or injured or what have you. It's great for George Floyd's family that George Floyd is getting some justice, but can't bring him back from the dead, obviously. But you have this bad cop, that he was in that department for a long time and that he affected a lot of people in a lot of cases. And nothing is perfect, and I can't believe a doctor would describe it as such. Yeah, that's such a good point. Like you're never going to have the perfect crime. We're humans. Nothing is perfect. You're never going to have a perfect autopsy, but you can make piles of money if you're considered an expert and you're willing to speak publicly for people that have piles of money. So this Dr. Young was probably paid, right, to go on to go through the circus or the circuit of true crime and talk like that. So yeah, willing to lie. I mentioned that yesterday when I had the good fortune of being hired as an expert witness to testify in some court cases. That's where the money is. And what was scary to me was to see that there are plenty of lawyers and judges and doctors who don't care about the truth. All they care about is their money. And so you pay them enough, they'll say whatever it is you want them to say. And that's, to me, it's just disgusting. I would never. um yeah, that's just hideous. Hey, Justice, not sure being pretty and white is why we care. Jolissa Fuentes seemed like a nice and innocent person with a family who loved her and drew us in. Right. And she was beautiful too. I mean, she wasn't white, but she still was super beautiful. Just like Vanessa Gillian, if I'm saying her name right, the Latin American that was down there at Fort Hood in Texas last year. Um, Maybe innocence and vulnerability is the draw for sure. Absolutely. These people that we feel like we want to protect them, right? kind of just a natural human instinct. It seemed like he was paid off. Yes, he was very rude, red-faced, hasty, and giving bad vibes. I felt sick. I like that you said that, Heather, because a lot of the people in this case with Kylie make me feel sick. I mean, it's like I just can't even think about them or talk about them. I just want to hurl. I just want to vomit. And those are the people I call the catfish crew. And I'm just kind of putting them over here because I want to stay focused. I want to stay positive. And those people are distractions. They're gaslighters. They're evil sons of bitches, in my humble opinion. Um, and 98 people watching, please like this live. Yes, thank you for the reminder. Um, Even medical examiners completely disagree to the point of publicly calling the other out, like Dr. Jan Garvaglia, uh, Kaylee Anthony, and Dr. Simon Wetched. So you're reminding me that tonight, What's the Obsession, Kelly with What's the Obsession is planning on having her live panel, and that she's got a doctor on there. And I don't know if it was the doctor that I was referring to, Dr. Dre Latina, or a different doctor. It seems like it might be a different doctor, actually. But whatever it is, it's a doctor and it's an expert. And Kelly's great. You know, she's kind of got the legal thing going. She's not a lawyer, but she certainly sounds like one. I enjoy following your channel. True crime is painful for the families of the victims, and your presentation of the crimes are very respectful. Thank you, Mary. I try. I try really hard because, you know, first of all, I don't think they should watch. I mean, if it was my family, I don't think I'd want to watch. But also, I don't want to say anything messed up about people that are already dealing with so much. And at the same time, I want to keep it real. I want to stay on track. I want to be accurate. I'm definitely not gonna like chicken out of saying something that I feel like needs to be said. I'm pretty and white, but no one looks at me. 40-pound gut. You know what? And sometimes that's safer. I mean, I've been thin and I've been heavier. And, you know, when you're heavier, you're just safer. People don't mess with you. When you're thin and blonde and young, like Kylie, you're just like a lamb in a field of wolves. I mean, it's really, really frightening. So keep your 40-pound gut. That's the point of the story. No, it's all about health, right? It's really, really about health and feeling good. Um, yes, professionals do not typically close ranks. Was it me? I felt like Dr. Young spoke to us like we're stupid. I haven't seen it, and I don't know that I want to. I'll just take your word for it. Dr. Young made 5 million this year from what I read. Testifies for the defense mostly. There you go. That's so sick. That's not a doctor. That's a prostitute, in my humble opinion. I thought Butcher was talking down to us afterward also. Flash says, I live 25 miles from where Jalissa is. Her family was very frustrated that she didn't get the attention in the beginning like Kylie did. They went missing within 2 days of each other. Yes, 8-6 and 8-8. And, you know, it's frustrating for me too, because yeah, Jalissa deserves the same amount of airtime and respect. I mean, I think all victims do. And it's kind of a throw of the dice, a toss of the dice, like who gets it and who doesn't. And yeah, that would have been so frustrating to be in her family and to be seeing Kylie getting all this attention and Kylie's family trying to get people to shut up about it. And then to have your Jalissa, like, please talk about Jalissa, and people are still talking about Kylie. Yeah, that's awful. And let's see, draw is short for doctora, right? Female doctor, I think. Yay, I'm safe. Thank you. That's cute. But yeah, being safe is what it's all about, right? Protecting ourselves, protecting our kids. How many 300-pound women have been kidnapped? Damn, that's a good point. You know that 95% of all women that are murdered by serial killers are 5'1" or shorter. And I hate to say that for those of you that are listening that are 5'1" or shorter. Most women that are 5'1" or shorter already know that. They're very well aware. So if you haven't been aware, be aware and just be extra cautious and, carry a whistle, carry mace, your cell phone always charged, don't ever hesitate to get out of any situation that seems the slightest bit off, and don't trust anyone. Trust no one. I felt like they were both trying too hard to explain away some of the most outrageous findings. Talking about those doctors, it is a sad wonder that the missing white woman gets coverage. So sad. Do we believe Jalissa had an accident? Great question. I mean, why would we? Why would we believe that Jalissa had an accident? Um, AWP and it seems like law enforcement thought that she had been kidnapped and was in the trafficking situation. And then maybe after that, she was then discovered in the water. And honestly, that's exactly what I fear happened with Kylie. Um, I don't like to say it because I really don't want it to be true. And I also don't like to say it because I don't want people to go, oh, conspiracy theorist, because I think saying that it was a freaking car accident is a conspiracy. I do. Absolutely. We know that that wasn't what happened. We absolutely know that that was not what happened. We kept open minds thinking that that was a possibility, but it's been proven overtly that that's not what happened. Kevin Neese kind of says it well in his song about Kylie. Her friends killed her. We know that. We know that. And they know it. So I'm just saying it. Um, and let's read a few more of these. We need more coverage on MMIW, missing and murdered Indigenous women. Good point, Skyzy. I mean, yeah, they get trafficked the most, and it's just so disgusting. So somebody's Ashley B is calling the doctor a kook, I think. Dr. Amy Salerno, Latina, I believe half Spanish, half Italian. Her Italian is flawless. And I think Amy Salerno is not the one that's going to be on Kelly Watts the Obsession show tonight. I think she might have been on Zav Girl recently, but I'm not 100% sure about that, so don't quote me. My husband says I'm such a pain, the kidnappers would toss me out after half a block. I love it. That's great. 5'8" here. Yep. I used to be almost 5'8". I'm 5'7" ish. And yeah, when I'm thinner and longer hair, I get a lot more attention that is not necessarily anything I enjoy. I like to just kind of blend into the woodwork when I've been heavier and shorter hair, darker hair. I can just live my life more unencumbered. um, so I carry at all times if you can do so legally. Yeah. I think that you need to in our country because the bad guys are packing. So, don't ever carry if you're not well versed in how to handle your weapon. You certainly wouldn't want it like used against you. I'm embarrassed. I don't know what to look for, what trafficking really is. Help, please don't tell me I'm dumb. Yeah, you're not. None of us know what to look for really because it's like hiding in plain sight right in front of us. And that's a lot like what they did with Kylie too, hiding in plain sight, coming out and saying, "Oh, help us find our friend," blah 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 blah, and then having her right underfoot. Hiding in plain sight is always the way to go. If you're a criminal, that's how you get away with crap. If you're corrupt, that's how you get away with crap. So one of the things that I've seen recently is zip ties on the back passenger um, door handle of your car, that a trafficker will put a zip tie there to let other traffickers know that you're alone and vulnerable. So this is something from the internet. I'm not sure if it's true, but check for zip ties if you're coming out of especially these larger stores like Walmart or Target or mall. in a parking lot. That's typically where they do those things. But typically, you're most vulnerable when you're getting in your car or when you're getting out of your car. So, especially at night, and if you're alone, try not to drive alone at night. It's sad to say that, but it's true. Try to do things during the day when it's light out. Try to have somebody with you. If I'm in a weird situation that I think is a little sketchy, I'll have my cell phone and I'll be talking to somebody like my sister or my husband or one of my kids, and I'll tell them where I am and what's going on and why I want to have them on the phone. Um, so let's see. Ashley B says, Butterfly McCoy, I don't believe it anymore when I believe the brand new chief of police went on his day off and found Julissa where no one else could see her. I was highly suspicious of that too. I have not followed Julissa's case because I've been very absorbed in Kylie's case. But immediately when they said that the police chief, I didn't know he was brand new, found her at midnight on his own on his day off, I was just like, you got to be kidding me. Like, that's uh, sus, right? Never pack heat unless you get a proper training and have a qualified criminal firearm attorney on call, then pack away. Yep, I'd say that's a really good idea. Divine intervention, busted flush says, and I'm not sure what you're referring to. So if you want to fill me in, I'll try to read up on your next comment. I see that you made a couple more. Marco, buy insurance for that as early. Well, and you can use your knowledge in another way. YouTube channel. I'm serious. I love having my YouTube channel. I didn't do it because I didn't think I would. I didn't think it would be fun. I thought it'd just be a lot of work. And it is fun for me, and it's fun because you guys are here. Without you, it wouldn't be anything. So I really appreciate you, and I really appreciate the conversation. As I learn my new computer, hopefully we can have some open panel discussions as well, have people come up. Um, so this is true. I work at a large grocery store, and two of our employees have had zip ties on their doors. Pretty, very pretty young girls. I live in a high trafficking area. Crazy. Flash, what state are you in? That is freaking awful. Ooh, how creepy. But I'm so glad you said that, so we can all know that that's a true thing. Um, Unbelievable. We used to have a pair of tied shoes thrown on a power line as a meat spot to buy bad things. Right. I remember when that was like a crack thing. Did chief of police get the reward? Good question, Ashley B. I was followed at a Walmart. I had my 5-year-old granddaughter. It was so scary. Right. They probably wanted your 5-year-old granddaughter. I had a scary, creepy situation at a Walmart with my youngest when she was about 3. So I was in my late 30s, and it was insane. It was really, really creepy. That sounds like Brian's parents finding him and touching the evidence, having the dry bag. Okay, should we go there? Should we talk about Brian Laundrie? Um, I try to stay away from that because I think it's a freaking mess. I don't believe that Brian Laundrie is dead. Um, I think he escaped to another country. He had a month of lead time. Um, he had an uncle who was a dentist, so they, had a tooth that they could say was his. Oh, and they had his dental records like in their back pocket. So, because they knew they were going to find his tooth. That whole thing was awful, and it was very similar to Kylie's search, where Kylie was found right where they said they had searched for almost 20,000 hours, right? Law enforcement, how long did they search that swampy park area? They said, oh, it was so big and it was so swampy, so the dogs couldn't smell a cadaver underwater. No, dogs can smell cadavers underwater. Sorry, that's insanely stupid to say to the public. Again, they think the public is stupid. But if it's coming from a white male with a deep voice, usually the public will buy it, especially if they have a title like police chief or medical examiner or something else. It's very unfortunate, but it's true. The stupid sexism. So does the trafficker kidnap them and drug them and force them into sex trade? Is that what trafficking is? That's exactly what it is. And then they might dump them, like Jalissa Fuentes, um, with the suspicion that some people think is way in left field and it's really not, like with Gabby Petito and Kylie Rodney, is that that was what happened potentially, or even is still happening, and that the remains that were found could be somebody else's. So that's often what people are inferring when they say, well, do we know that it was Kylie? So there was no DNA test, there was no fingerprint, there was no um, dental record, and you cannot identify somebody confirmed positive without one of those three. That's a fact. That's not an opinion. That's an absolute fact. You have to have one of those three. So yeah, the kidnapping, the drugging, and the sex trade. It's awful. It happens so much more than any of us have any idea. It happens everywhere. It's insane. So, let's see. I totally agree about laundry. So faked. Thanks, superhero loves Akitas, because I try not to say it because I don't want to get in an argument with somebody and for them to try to discount me as some crazy conspiracy theorist. But do you know how easy it is to buy like body parts on the dark web, I hear? And that, now they've got like this puzzle piece of Brian Laundrie's like entire skeletal system, where at first they said the whole thing disintegrated and was eaten by the wild animals. And now they have like every single bone. And if you Google it, you can probably see a picture, and they're all different sizes, shapes, and colors. It's just like a joke, and it's disgusting. It's insane. So that's another part of the trafficking is body parts, post-mortem. There's human trafficking with that too, like with organs and skin graft, and some of that's legal, and then there's the black market. So it's super, super disgusting. I think he might have had a limb amputated so they could say, yep, DNA shows it's him. He must be dead. Right. I think he probably pulled a tooth. There was kind of a joke on the internet for a while showing pictures of him missing a tooth. So I'm not the only one. Ugh. Okay, I'm with you there about the white male part, or black male, any male, as long as it's not a woman of any color. Right. I know it's the sexism is off the chain. I completely understand not being able to wrap the brain around trafficking. You are not alone. Can you read my comment above? I don't know if I can. I can try. Let's see. Let's see if I can go back. Let's see. It was Lisa Woody. Where is it? Lisa Woody. Am I back too far? Did I pass it? I'll go back in a second in case I did pass it. Lisa Woody. Was it a long one? Is it? I'm probably back too far, huh? I know you guys have so many good comments, and it's just not possible for me to keep up. So let me see if I find it coming back to the current, and maybe if not, then you can put it back in there. I see this one from Nana. I feel like law enforcement was telling us they were depending on autopsy to determine what happened to Kylie before they investigate, but they were saying car accident from the outset. I mean, they were just ridiculous. Message retracted by Kumar and R. Ashley Donald. I'm looking for Lisa. I'm not finding it. The zip thing was debunked as an internet hoax rumor. Right, but then it's not. You just heard somebody say that it's happened at the grocery store that they work at, to a couple of the younger, pretty employees. So sorry, Lisa Woody. I missed your comment above. Yes, long one. Okay, so I still haven't found it. Let me try that again, if you guys don't mind bearing with me. It's kind of good practice for me. So I'm looking for a long one. Let's see. Long, 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 long. Um, let's see. If anybody else has found it and knows how to like cut and paste it, that would be good too. Okay, so I'm like way at the beginning. And Lisa, are you just pulling my leg? Just seeing if I would do it. And I'm just kidding. Let's see. I'm not finding it. Maybe I'm looking right at it and skipping over it. I hate it when that happens. Um, yeah, I'm not finding it. Let's see. Lisa, can you read my comment above? Yeah, why can't I find it? So Flash says that they don't see the comment either. The comment's not there. Okay, that's my moderator. Okay, so maybe there was something in it that got deleted by YouTube. Like there's certain words you can't use. That's why people put asterisks in their words. You know, like you can't use swear words in the comment. The YouTube will just zip it out right away. So maybe there was a phrase in there, and sometimes you just can't be too direct and honest. So that's where you just want to use asterisks and leave a word out that's really obvious, or leave some letters out that's really obvious. Jazz, I am so happy and grateful we're on the same page with Brian Laundry too. You speak my mind. Oh, thank you. I'm really happy to have that support around me, because I think it's something that needs to be said, and I just haven't known when would be the right time to say it. Um, so yeah, Lisa, please restate if you can. I'm going to guess that that's exactly what happened, that it got deleted because there was a phrase or a word in there that the YouTube algorithm probably just takes that stuff out without even a person reviewing it, is my guess. Um, so I'll keep my eyes open for your thing if you have the tenacity to retype it. So let's get into some of these things that I wanted to discuss with you guys, and I think you'll want to discuss these things. You probably already have in your head or on other channels, or I don't think I've said it on mine. Oh, yes, it's there at 9:35 a.m. Could maybe the moderator, can you like cut it and paste it down below or pin it or something like that? Because YouTube won't let us be too direct and honest. Smack my head. I'm loving the flower print with rustic door various patterns. It's true. YouTube won't let us be too direct and honest. I haven't gone to these other places like Discord or Patreon. That's where you can be, all out, I guess. But, I think YouTube is a really good forum. So I'm just going with that and going with the community standards that they have. So the moderator never saw Lisa at 9:35, and she's pretty good. She would know how to get in there at 9:35. So I wonder what the deal is with that. Anyway, here's the quote that Sammy said in her half-hour interview with Tony Dodge. And she stopped herself and then kind of I did bring it up once. I said she pretended to be like a narcoleptic, and she said, I have her completely, huh? Oh wait, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, it's so confusing, right? Do you guys remember that? I have her completely, okay. Another brain leak, as armchair detective likes to say. So Sammy had another brain leak. I have her completely. Yeah, we know that. We don't know what you were going to say, but we know that you have her completely. Yep, a Freudian slip, exactly. Um, so yeah, nobody is seeing it, Lisa. If you're able to, maybe it's like in your feed because you're the one that typed it, but it didn't go out because of the community standards or something. So if you could cut and paste it and see if there's any words that need to be changed. So Flossie May says, "I caught that in the Tony interview a couple of times." Right, she did it more than once, but I thought that that was the most conspicuous. The I have her completely. Uh-huh. Keep talking. Um, justice for Kylie will happen. I think so too. She slipped a few times. I don't understand why a trafficker would zip tie the back of the potential victim's car to alert other traffickers like they work by a code of ethics or something. No, they work in teams. So, they might try to like run you off the road or something, or carjack you at a red light, something like that. So yeah, they're all, watching each other's backs, and that's just one thing. A year or two ago, there was something about like a empty water bottle that they would put on your tire or something, so that when you pulled out of your parking space, you would get out of your car to see what it was that you just ran over, and then they would nab you right there. Did you guys remember hearing about that one? She tried to catch herself, but it was already out of her mouth. And yeah, she's done that a few times. Teams, you got it. Okay, Flash knows. We call them rings too. Thank you. That's trafficking ring is usually what they talk about in like news or law enforcement. So the problem is that a lot of times you have law enforcement involved in these rings. So that's a huge problem. My mom gave me that nickname as a baby. 37 years later, she still calls me Flossie May because you got the dental floss tongue. The sharp, sharp, sharp. Okay, what do you think about Sammy's age? I'm really open on that. I like what I said yesterday when I was sharing with you guys that with this case, sometimes in my mind I'd be singing the Kylie was 16 going on 17, which is from Sound of Music. And then I'd think Sammy is 18 going on 30. Because yeah, she definitely seems like she could be a lot older than 18. And what somebody was saying yesterday about the whole public speaking, yeah, most people fear public speaking more than death itself. So for an 18-year-old to be totally comfortable and wanting to speak publicly is extremely unique. I guess not unheard of, but very unusual. So maybe undercover. She does look older for sure. 21 Jump Street, Dark Force. I'm not familiar with all that. But, we all know that girls can look a lot older and a lot younger too. Like I'm 55, and thank you if you're going to say, oh, you don't look 55. But when I was younger, people always thought I was so much older. Like from the time I was in my late teens, even through my 20s, people thought I was like 30 something, I think. Um, Johnny Depp, 21 Jump Street. So that's a movie, I take it. So some of the quotes were times in relationship to Kylie in the early part of the investigation. Here, I just moved. Oh, okay. Is the connection more stable? So, so yeah, when she said, the friendly fight right away, I thought, wait, what? Okay. And then when she said, Kylie's a fighter, keep fighting, Kylie. We're looking for you. I was very suspicious. And it was very similar to some of Jagger's words. We all remember that first interview of him and Kate Cuneo standing in the parking lot, being interviewed by Fox News in Reno. Like, why'd they go to Reno? And Kate didn't say much, but she talked about the cream brulee. We made cream brulee, and I don't know what I'm going to say after I finish up with my E, so I'll just keep going with the E. Right? I mean, that's what I saw in that delivery of cream brulee, is that she had no words to come after that, so she was dragging out that E, trying to think of something to say. And let's see, mean girl energy, especially after I seen her TikTok. Oh my God, those TikToks are ridiculous. So Jagger's words that day were, I think that, she's fine and she's out there and she's safe and she's unharmed and we'll find her or I'll find her or you'll find her or we will find her. Was that not so fucking weird? Kate Cuneo. Yeah, I'm never sure how you spell the Kate Cuneo. I see it a lot online as Cuno. And then I don't know that I've seen it spelled that way, moderator, Cunio. So we know that she's got an uncle, I think his name is David Cuno or David Cuneo, and that he's a deputy sheriff for Sacramento County. So if you Google him, you'll probably see the correct spelling of her last name. The whole "we will bring her home" made me mad from Jag. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'll just tell you guys what I honestly think might have happened with Kylie is I think that she might have been kidnapped and held for a few days and that she might have been killed later. Might. I think that she might have been trafficked. Um, I think that maybe Jagger was supposed to be the one to save her, and then she was gonna be indebted to him for the rest of her life, and then shit just went sideways. The way I brought it up before with that movie, Fargo. That is based on a true story of a car salesman who was married to a very rich heiress, and he was trying to milk some money out of her father, so he had her fake kidnapped. So he didn't know the goons that he hired to fake kidnap her, and they didn't know how to take care of a person during a kidnapping. Like they have to eat and go to the bathroom and drink water and stuff like that. And so, they ended up killing her kind of accidentally pretty quickly, I think within a few days. And then everybody ended up getting killed, including one of the kidnappers. And I think that that movie got so popular, Fargo, back in the 90s. I think that's when it came out. And Frances McDermott starred in it. She played the cop who busted the case wide open and was 9 months pregnant. The character was 9 months pregnant. So allegedly it's true story, but I've heard that maybe it's not. Fargo has some truth, but not all based on truth. Thank you. Sacramento nude woman might have been Kylie. Absolutely. Absolutely. Also, there was, I think, a week or 10 days after her disappearance, several days after her disappearance, there was like a blue car that was on a video surveillance camera outside of a gated community. I can't remember if that gated community was Reno, maybe, and that she was on that videotape in a blue car. There's also the Sing um, that person who showed up in Tony Dodge's feed, who also said that she was renting out this apartment and that some people came to rent the apartment and that they had Kylie with them. And she didn't know who Kylie was, but she saw that it was a drugged out teenage girl and she got the creeps and told them that her husband wouldn't let her rent it to them. You need to look at the reporter that followed Jagger and Kate around Reno. She is a Fox bureau chief in the San Francisco area. Why act as lowly reporter 4 hours away? Good freaking question, Ashley B. Yeah. And that reminds me of the woman that worked for, I think, the San Francisco newspaper, who wrote an editorial or an article slamming all of the people that were concerned about Kylie and just really, really harsh, saying, people need to like leave the family alone and shut the fuck up. And I thought right away, like, this person is obviously connected to Sammy's parents. Just my opinion. Um, let's see. Ashley B, also check out the Forensic Astrologer. Never knew that existed. Crazy accurate on Rodney case. There's a couple of these tarot people that I think are really, really intuitive. One of them calls herself 1111 Tarot, Mama D or Mama Kaz. I think it's Mama Kaz. Sorry. So I'm sure some of you guys are familiar with Flossie May says 1111. So yeah, her channel is 1111 Tarot, and I think it's Mama Kaz, right? I think she's pretty freaking good. Oh, okay, she's Mama D. Thanks. And then Candace Starr. Yep, that's the other one I was gonna say. Um, so those are the only two tarot folks that I have followed on um YouTube. If there's others that are good, please say so. The Witch of Endor was intuitive, but I'd stay away from anyone doing witchcraft. I mean, witchcraft to me is like back in the day, it was women who were medicinal healers with herbs who got burned at the stake and drowned and all of that stuff. So now when we say witch, we're often talking of condescending. And, you got like your wicked witches in Wizard of Oz, when really there's the good witches like Glenda. So, it's like, it's confusing. So herbal healers, female doctors, exactly. Absolutely. And that the males were the ones killing the females because they had too much power. That's what the witch burning was. I think I may have found the shop where CC footage was taken. We'll email you my research photos. I found the shop where that closed caption footage was taken, but I didn't find it. Casey from Living Lakeside found it. And I have the name of it written down. It's something like it's an RV convenience store in Delhi, and it sounds like it's right by where Cold Creek Road meets up with a more main street. Salish Singh may or may not be the same Salish Singh from Jamaican Apartments. Thank you. Right, because Singh is a very common name in the Sikh religion. So, see, The Burning Times by BBC Canada, free on YouTube, fantastic, backs up what Justice is saying. Oh, okay, I'll write that down. Burning Times by BBC Canada. If my pen will work, let's see. Luckily, I have another one here. Oh my God, what's wrong with these? It's cold out or something? Burning what? Okay, there, it's still there. Burning Times by BBC Canada. BBC Canada. I just want to thank you guys. You're so awesome. All of you being here and being a part of this chat and this science experiment. Oh my God, we're at a minute and 7 minutes, a minute or an hour. Should I say minute? We're at an hour and 8 minutes. I think this is my record. So I'm going to try to wrap it up, or we could just go for 2 hours. Let's see. There was a Truckee local who located it and went there to ask questions. But as soon as he entered, there was an officer standing there with the sidearm. So he thought better of it. What? Gregory Worth? What? Highly recommend Jane's Midnight Tarot and Muse News. Both are excellent. I'm going to write those down. Jane's Midnight Tarot. And I'm not real into tarot, but I think that a lot of people use tarot that are already intuitive and then they tie it in with the tarot. Like I think that they would do fine without the cards, that they could just talk, but that's their thing, and so I just go with it. But that's my opinion about that. So Jane's Midnight Tarot and Muse News. So 2 hours. Far Canal says 2 hours. Flossie May says, whoa. Witchcraft is always seen as a stereotypical negative as portrayed, right? But it truly isn't at its roots. Many, many different branches, and most are extremely loving and kind and healing. Right, like Wiccan, right? Pagan, and like that's supposed to be the roots of all Christianity. Kiki Ray, yeah, I think you will like Muse News. She has covered a lot about Grandpa in the water. Oh, definitely. You just reminded me of this woman I found yesterday. Oh my God, what did she have? Like 88 followers or something like that? 88 subs. It's Wisconsin something. I'll have to get it and put it in the comments. But she just did like a 6-minute thing with the receipts that she found online for Lindsay getting the PPE loans that were supposed to be for employee payroll protection. So she got two PPE loans. One was like $6,000 and one was almost $5,000 in, I think, February and March of 2021. And I have heard that she's had to pay those back now because she was misinforming them that she was giving that money to employees. Maybe she was calling herself the employee. I don't know. But this channel, Wisconsin something, with, like I said, 88 followers yesterday. And I'm like, yeah, that's not going to last long because I'm going to talk about it. And hopefully a lot of you guys will sub because, I mean, this person is on to something. I think, yeah, so Grandpa in the Water, there's got to be so much there, so much there. Blue Willow does intuitive readings. Yes, but we use the tarot cards to get a better understanding of our own thoughts. Oh, thank you, Flossie May. So you do that too. Awesome. Thank you for just spelling that out. That's great. Tarot is just the communication tool. When Candace really gets going, no device is needed. She just blurts out everything she sees. Wisconsin is what the moderator says. So look up Wisconsin the way it's spelled there, WISCONSINIAN, if you're interested in looking at those receipts that she located online that show the PPE loans that were for the lodge. And like I said, allegedly, she's been having to pay those back now. Agreed, Marco. History Hunters did a video on Truckee if anyone is interested. Yes, I am very interested. I haven't checked that out yet, but hopefully I will get to real soon. Marco, I've watched Candace really bloom since then. The Jenica Jenkins case. Phantasmic Ether says, so glad to catch your live. I was going to sleep later, but roofers decided to start over my room, brewing my bucket of coffee. So I have my coffee here that I'm still finishing, and I have 2 cups of tea, but I'm not going to go much longer. So just know that we're at about an hour and 15 minutes. What is Grandpa in the Water? So Grandpa, Lindsay's father, I think, is it David Robinson, owned a big public water company in Truckee for roughly 30 years. And there's a lot of politics there. There's a lot of lawsuits there. There's a lot of problems there. And so that's what the deal is with Grandpa in the Water. And so that may or may not tie in with some retribution to Grandpa with injuring, killing his granddaughter. I don't know. I'd hate to think so, but I think that's how that kind of gangsta type of crap works. So let's get to the wrapping it up. Go for 2 hours to just brew a pot with Red Bull. You know what? I'm going to wrap up and then I will come back on in probably about 3 hours. So roughly 1 o'clock. If I'm a little early or a little late, please don't hold it against me. Far Canal says 45 minutes to go. I'll be here. Flossie May says. So yeah, let me wrap this one up just because I have other stuff I need to get to. And I think I covered the major items. So, you know, to go back to the whole thing of having a purpose driven life, do you guys remember that when that was like a super popular thing about 20 years ago? I think the author of the book was Warren. I can't remember if that was his first or last name. But the Adventures with Purpose reminded me of the purpose driven life when that was like such a trend. Um, and I think that it's important for me and for maybe a lot of us to feel like we're working towards something and that we have that sense of purpose. What I was saying about it's really nice when you feel comfortable and confident that the path that you're on, you know where you're going. You never know where life will take you, but it's nice to have a framework to feel some kind of safety and security with. This is the first live of yours that I caught, and so glad I did. I have learned so much here. Oh, that's so sweet, Gregory. Thank you. I wish AWP would do what they said they were going to do and release all the footage. We will see. We will see. Rick Warren. Thanks. Yep. That's who wrote The Purpose Driven Life. And I think a lot of people that was extremely meaningful for, a lot of our culture can feel like we're just consumers and we're just spinning our wheels or running on the rat wheel, so to speak, the rat race. Happy Friday. Yeah, people, happy Friday. Plus, my understanding is after high school graduation, Kylie was going to inherit the lodge, and with her gone, it may be given to Lindsay. Holy crap. That would make sense. I have not heard that one. I've heard that maybe she was in the process of getting emancipation, that maybe she wasn't getting along so well with that family, the nuclear family that she had been raised in, the mom, the stepdad, the brother. And let's see. Oh my God, I just switched from your previous video where you were commenting on someone who switched from your old video to your live stream, and I just did the same. I love it. That's awesome. Love this drama-free zone. Thank you for saying that. I really feel like I try to go drama-free. So I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to read the last couple here. Her mom only has one OIC on her IG, Instagram. I'm not sure what an OIC is. Heather says, I think Lindsay wanted to traffic Kylie to pay the bills. They had clear financial problems. Oh my God, wouldn't surprise me. Nothing would surprise me with this. Lindsay never posted Kylie pic. No drama, just justice warrior speak. At 16, emancipation makes sense if she's going to college, right? Yeah. So I've also heard that maybe she was going to move in with her father, which could also make sense if she was going to be going to college. So not so much homeschooling, but actually trying to go to the campus at Sierra College, which might be as much as an hour away. Roseville, I'm not sure how far of a drive that is from Truckee, but maybe half hour, 45 minutes, something like that. 16 years old with an IUD and a tattoo. On that, Ashley B, let's wrap this up. Let's pray for Kylie. I mean, I'm all for birth control and I'm all for tattoos, but yeah, 16 years old is absolutely too young for both of those things. And I'm not sure what Nana's saying about no IUD. Apparently there was an IUD in the body that they found that they said was Kylie's. Roseville is where the autopsy was done. That's good to know. It's also where the 15-year-old girl was from, that Nick Kabakunga was arrested for giving her the drugs that killed her and lewd and lascivious acts. And he was supposed to be having some kind of court thing today. So anybody who can look that up and then get back in the chat later this early afternoon, that would be awesome. So yeah, let's try for about 1:00. The lodge sale would pay for Kylie's college. And see, I also wondered if that's why she was trying to get through high school quickly, because the charter school probably cost a lot of money for her family. So maybe that there was a big squeeze, especially with the COVID the last couple of years. So thanks you guys so much. The medical examiner works for Wayne Wu in Placer County and something. Starts at 8:30 Pacific for Nate Kuba. Let me try to say his name. Kuba Kungan. That's probably it, right? Kuba Kungan. So 8:30 Pacific. So let's see. It's almost 10:30 East Coast time. So it'll be 11:30. So in about an hour and 20 minutes is when his thing is supposed to start. So thank you so much, Kiki Ray. Wisconsinite, what was it again? Something like that. It was Wisconsin something. So happy Friday, Lady Justice and Justice Fighters. Thank you, and I will see you guys in just a couple 3 hours. Hopefully, we'll get an update on the court thing with the Nate C. Thanks again.